Hi, my name is Eden Janiga, and this is my self-assessment assignment for Gender 200. First, I'm going to be talking about intersectionality. Intersectionality is social categories that are applied to a person that cause advantages and disadvantages in people's lives. I hold many different identities such as niece, granddaughter, student, daughter, and sister. And because I grew up as a white female, which is also one of my identities, I experienced more advantages than I did disadvantages that other people have with their identities. I was okay walking alone at night. I had less negative interaction with police officers. I had no profiling towards my identity, and my privileges made and still continue to make me feel safer. People think that my life is perfect because of these identities and the privileges that I have, but just like everyone else, everyone has their struggles. If I, so to say, grew up as an African American female, I would hold many different identities than I do now, such as being an African American female, and my life would be very different than it is today. I wouldn't be treated the same, and I wouldn't hold the same privileges. The next thing that I'm going to be talking about is my chosen topic. I have chosen rape culture, which we talked about in week 8 during objectification and slut shaming, and I've connected the most to this so far because I feel like it's something that I didn't learn a lot about growing up or hadn't really been talked to about, just rape in general. And I have learned a lot about it since then, such as rape culture really enables and protects abusers, and it blames and punishes survivors, which should not be done. It attacks masculinity of male survivors because people, when they hear the word rape, think of females and not always males. The use of rape threats as a weapon also. And in which ways is the topic complicated and what questions are difficult to answer? I feel like rape is just a difficult topic to talk about in general and is a very sensitive topic for people, so it may be difficult depending on your situation to answer any questions. And how might I go about learning more about this after this course? Just really being aware of my surroundings and the areas that I'm in, and just knowing abuse warning signs and just how to protect myself. I can use the key term of gender pay gap to understand this article more by knowing about what it is and the initial difference between the two. And the article also talks about how did equal pay day become a thing, and this just talks about other countries having a gender wage gap and how other communities are affected by this. For my applied concept, I've chosen the gender pay gap, which is a difference in average earnings between men and women. And for my article, I found is from the New York Times from May of 2020. The article also talks about what is equal pay day, and knowing what a gender pay gap is helps me understand this article more because I can understand the background information behind the earnings of men and women and the difference between the two. This article not only talks about the difference in pay between men and women, but the difference between pay in white women and African American women. One thing that we've talked about in class that I think I have a plan of action for is dress codes in schools and how women are discriminated against when we set these dress code rules. I think that going into education can really help make a difference in this when I get into teaching. And something that I would suggest to change in order in my life to move towards a more ethical interaction with the social forces is just being able to spread awareness about how women aren't supposed to be sexualized and how we should be able to wear what we want without being told that we're distracting others and that we are a distraction in the classroom. And I think that implementing this in elementary school will really help going into middle and high school, because the dress codes in elementary school are completely different than when you get to middle and high school because of the hormonal changes that you go through, and the school just does that on purpose, changes the dress code. And I think that starting a dress code earlier, as in elementary school, and being a little bit more strict on it can really help kids get used to what school's going to be like in the future.